Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing today? Welcome to all of my podcasts and my YouTube channel, From Darkness to Light, and also Being Led to the Slaughter. And I always forget the last one and make sure I'm saying it right. Give me 1 second. I know it, it's just I always forget to say it. It's always hard for me to say it. This one is a happier and healthy recovery and healing channel. So I'm your host, Coach Ashe Mariana, and for some of y'all might know me as Goddess Ashe Mariana. Thank you guys for joining me for this episode. If you guys like the commentary and you want to hear more, please go to speaker.com/. My name, ASHAMARIAMA, and you'll see all of my podcasts. If you guys want to send letters or emails to me, or you want to just sponsor my channel, or send me products that you want me to promote, or you want to be a guest on my podcast, please go to speaker.com. Well, my email address was asha.mariaa. So tongue tied today. ASHA.MARIAMA01. And I repeat that, ASHA.MARIAMA01 at gmail.com. A little bit about me. I am a certified recovery healing and recovery coach. It's all about helping people on their paths and their journeys in the following aspects: your medical, your physical, internally and externally, as far as medical, your health and wellness is concerned. Also, your mental, psychological, emotional, spiritual, financial, and also any relationships that you have. I specialize in that. And yes, I am certified. I am a certified recovery life coach. I know it's been a minute since I've been on all of my podcasts. I've been visiting family. So that's what I've been doing. So today, I'm going to combine today everything into one podcast because this is going on one podcast all across the board. But I'm going to break down each one of them based on which one I'll be referring to. So we're going to start with spiritual because spiritual is the number one thing when it comes to recovery. Today is about finding your way back to you through the isolation, hibernation, and cocoon stage. Some of y'all may wonder, what does that mean? You yourself and you and God, or whatever your religion or spirituality is. That's pretty much what it means. It means that you're not around your friends, you're not around your family, no phone calls, nobody calling you. You are completely alone. Nobody, just you. Nobody that you know influencing you, manipulating you, bamboozling you, leading you astray, leading you nowhere. This is when God pulls you from the world and you are by yourself. This is when you might go through something like I did when I had emergency surgery, when I got sick because I was being a people pleaser, seat filler, Captain Save a Hole, build a barrel, build a doll, so on and so forth, and a seat filler. When I was in a phase when I would do anything, just be loved, liked, appreciated, valued, wanted, needed, to be a part of something, to be validated, to be approved of, to be accepted, for somebody to know my worth. That's pretty much what I was pretty much doing. So, with that being said, was it easy going through this journey? No, I'm the one going through it now, and it's been almost 9 years. And why? Because I was on a journey not only mentally, not only psychologically, not only spiritually, but also relationships. It was also one of those things of me basically getting away from everything and everybody to find who I was, who the new version of me was going to be, not based on my family, not based on my friends, not based on anybody associated with me, but me, not based on society standards, what anybody thought. It was one of those things where God pulled me alone for me to find myself. And I couldn't find myself through everybody else because I would never be who I am. I had to go through this journey of isolation. And I'm going to break down all three of these actual different parts and stages of the hibernation, isolation, and cocoon stage. and why they are so important. Healing is something that you do every day. Healing is not something that you do when you feel better. That's it. No, you're still recovering, you're still healing. Because it isn't just about getting better. That's that's the thing we need to stop. It's not about just losing weight or basically doing all of these things and you don't stick to it. So that means you're not doing it for the right reasons. If you're losing weight or going to get plastic surgery because you want to get a man, that's not a good reason. That's a stupid reason. If you want to fit into society and that's why you're doing the things that you're doing, that's not a good reason. If you're trying to be a seat filler, people pleaser, Captain Save a Hoe, build a bear, build a dog, and a seat filler, that ain't a good reason either. Trying to prove somebody to people and proving something to people, that ain't worth it. You lowering yourself to build somebody else up, that ain't a good reason either. Because you are messing yourself up. And pretty soon you're going to mess yourself up physically. All of these things contribute to our health and wellness. But it ain't just that. It's also you're trusting a government with your life as well. It ain't just your parents, it's also government. It's also people that are in higher up as far as companies that you work for. A lot of different things that we don't even look at. And when I went through my isolation, I got to see the world for what it truly was. Not what I wanted to be, but what it truly was. It wasn't about everybody else, it was about me. And the peace that I got from that these 9 years has been absolutely extraordinary. And this was a time when everybody walked down on me, except maybe a select few people. So when you go into isolation, isolation is not something you do by choice. God is the one that isolates you because God has seen you being damaged for years. And you keep going back in that world doing the same things and you're getting the same result. You're not getting chosen, you're being abused, neglected, you are damaging your physical health in the worst way possible. You are lowering yourself to build other people up. You're waiting around for other people to go on trips on you. You're letting people take away your blessings because you're trying to basically take care of everybody else, and that's not what you're supposed to do. That is not what God put you on this earth to do. So when it happened to me, it was in 2017. I got really, really sick. This doctor gave me the wrong medication and I almost died. And I'm sitting up here taking this medicine. Next thing I know, I almost went to the emergency room. But God said, I got you. Because God knows I've been looking for answers in my medical situation for a very long time. And God said, no, I got you. I just need you to go to sleep. I got you. I'm literally seeing angels and demons fighting around me. Literally. This is what I'm seeing. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to heaven. I guess, I was like, Lord, I got so much to live for. I got so many things to do. I got so many things and places I want to discover. And I woke up the next morning, then lost my job. Lost my job a couple days later, but I was still here. And the old me would have panicked about losing my job, but the new me was like, why am I panicking? God got me. God got me through that. 2020, I had to have emergency gallbladder surgery. In 2020, I was throwing up for months. The doctors kept giving me this runaround of them not knowing what's going on. And then come to find out I had an infection in my gallbladder and it had to be removed. And it's the same week that Kobe and his daughter passed away. So I will forever have a connection with Kobe. If I break down crying when Kobe passes away, every year, please forgive me because I have a personal connection with that. So when it come down to these situations, hold on, let me make sure y'all can hear me. I just want to make sure people can hear me. Hold on. I don't want it where nobody can actually hear me. So let me go to my channel. I'm just trying to make sure y'all can hear me because sometimes these things will say, oh, I can hear you, and then you can't. So I just want to make sure y'all can hear me. So bear with me just 1 second. I just want to make sure that, okay, never mind. Bear with me just Okay, you can hear me. 1 second. I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me. But anyway, going through those journeys of going through 20 something years of not knowing what's wrong with me. Doctors telling me, oh, it's just your imagination. Why I couldn't walk. It was just my imagination when I was in and out of the hospital because I kept having chest pains and didn't know why. And my heart was accelerating. Oh, it was just anxiety. Was it? Or was it the fact that the whole entire time I had a cyst in my kidney that y'all just neglected not to check on? Or maybe that I had a hernia in my stomach that might be why I'm gaining weight. Or maybe it's because the fact that my intestines basically essentially had so much food in there that that's the reason I had inflammation. Or maybe because I wasn't chewing food properly, that might have been why I was having inflammation. I have found out the medical field in the United States of America has been way off on so many things. If I was to really tell you the real reason why we are sick, a lot of y'all would be very pissed off. And it ain't because it has nothing to do with anything you've been told. It's intentional. It's called population control. If they really wanted to keep people alive, they would change processed foods. That's number one. Number two, if they really wanted you to be healthy, then they would get rid of bleach in your sugar, your flour, and all of this other stuff. There wouldn't be chlorine in your water if our water was not contaminated by oils from oil spills and from littering. Our water is not clean, and they have to put chlorine in our water in order to clean it. There's chlorine on your meat, there's chlorine on a bunch of stuff. You're unhealthy because of what you're consuming. In other words, choices, decisions, actions, and behaviors while you're unhealthy. No other reason than that. Because you're so busy worried about everybody else that you don't care nothing about your internal health. You care nothing about what you consume and what you acknowledge that goes into the choices, decisions, actions, and behavior when it comes to the things you do and the way you act and behave. That is why you sick. That is why you end up with the people that you end up with because you let people manipulate and bamboozle and lead you astray because you want to be a part of society standards that is like the most unhealthy thing you can do. We ain't supposed to work till we're 40. That is just designed so you will have to work till you're 40. That's why they gave you PTO. Because if you work from 8 to 5, how are you supposed to go to a doctor's office to go to an appointment when you can't even go to the doctor because you have to work to from 8 to 5? And then for those of us who are single mothers, we have to work because we have kids to take care of. So are you unhealthy because you're unhealthy? Or are you unhealthy because you have a society that's not basically giving you the opportunity to be healthy? Why are we working in 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week? Some of y'all work 12, 16 hours a week. Some of y'all work 2 or 3 jobs. For what? For what? Now, if people were living back home with their parents, would you really be working a full time job? If all of y'all were living in the same house until you were married? Absolutely not. You would be traveling, and that's the thing. They don't talk to you about building a business and a brand. No, they don't want you to do that. They don't want you to build a business and brand in high school. That's why they don't even promote you taking business classes. Majority of the stuff that you are going to school for is not even going to apply when you actually do the job. And even people that go and get certifications doesn't mean they know how to do the job. Some people may be good at tests, but they don't mean they're good when it actually comes to doing jobs. And some people are more hands on. And that's okay too. But at the end of the day, you have people that's leaving this earth that worked 65 years and even retired, and nobody remembers you. Nobody remembers you at all. But yet and still, for somebody that basically went for their dream and they went for the things they wanted to accomplish, they actually are remembered. So how is it that people that don't go get a job And don't work 40 hours a week. Remember, Michael Jackson didn't work a regular 9 to 5 job. Prince didn't work a regular 9 to 5 job. Julia Roberts didn't work a regular 9 to 5 job, but we're still going to remember who they are. Why? Because they have a star on the Walk of Fame. And they're always going to have music or acting or something that will forever be where their kids will always get a actual paycheck. Your kids will only get Social Security until it runs out. They may get life insurance if you choose to. Whereas all these wealthy kids and all these rich kids, they will always have something if they own their masters. But majority of artists don't even own their own masters. But yet you're making music for someone else. Your talent is going towards somebody else. So are you really doing what you want to do? Or are you doing what's gonna make somebody else money? It's just like when you have a business, right? And your business is booming. Your business is doing well. Then somebody comes in and says, I want to buy your company. What is the first thing you're gonna do? You're gonna basically let them buy it out. Why? Because you're getting a lump sum of money, not understanding a lump sum of money can be gone just like that and gone. And yet and still you want to sit up here and spend money on stuff you're not going to take with you when you pass away. Stuff that's only going to get sold when you pass away. Because your kids are not keeping it house. They're not keeping it. They want the cash. They're not keeping your company because they want their own. But I always say you should always keep certain things because you never know when you're gonna need a backup plan. That's another thing. You will give up your backup plan because somebody else said they're gonna take care of you. Somebody gonna do all these things for you, so I'm just gonna sit up there and give up everything. I'm gonna give up my house and my business, everything to lower myself because you have a problem with me actually being successful. Then you're not my person. You're not my person, point blank, period. If you can't see that I'm a good and godly person and you can't see me for that, then you're not my person, especially. I'm not lowering myself no longer for nobody. I am not being Captain Save a Hoe, Build a Bear, Build a Dog, Seat Filler, or a piece of people pleaser. That is your mama's job. That is your dad's job. That is not my job. My job is not to take care of a grown person unless they have a disability or unless they're a child. But you as an adult that know better, that got critical thinking, common sense, and common judgment, you know better. You just choosing to make the same decisions and the same mistakes because you feel like it's gonna be a different result. No. The reason it's not gonna be a different result because it ain't you that's the issue. It's the other people around you. They're never gonna change. So it doesn't matter what you do. You can change all day long. They're not gonna change. And them are not your people. So the minute that somebody tell you no, I don't want to be with you, I don't want to deal with you, then it should be, you know what? It was nice meeting you and keep pushing. So when you go into isolation, that's when God sees that you are almost at your breaking point. God is pulling you away from all of these people because they are destroying you. And for years, God has tried to tell you these ain't the people you need to be dealing with. These ain't the people you need to be even involved with at all. These are not people that you should be in associating with. God didn't choose these people for you. You chose these people because they were popular, because they were attractive, whatever the reason is. You don't even like yourself. I just saw something with Queen Latifah on the Red Table Talk, and she talked about obesity and how a lot of people can't get higher positions because of their weight. How a lot of people cannot get a man because of their weight, or a female because of their weight. Oh, but I forgot, men can get a woman despite their weight if they got money, but a woman can't because men claim they don't care about women's money, but the lie detector determines that certainly will be a lie. So when God pulls you into isolation, it ain't that something wrong with you. It ain't that you did anything wrong. It ain't even what you think. God is pulling you away from people that are using you, taking advantage of you, bamboozling, leading you astray, and leading you amok. Okay? That is what God is doing. And every single person in the Bible, every single person has been alone for 40 days with God. Every single person. Every single person that God chosen for whatever He chose them for had to spend 40 days with Him by themselves. And you think you any different? So when God pulled you from the world, I know it ain't easy, but take appreciation and advantage of that. There's a reason you alone, because you're gonna find you by yourself. You're gonna find you because nobody else is gonna be there but you. So when you hit rock bottom, you are by yourself. There are people out here that don't bring nobody involved in their mess, and they will deal with it themselves. And nobody else will even be involved in the situation at all. They don't want to bring nobody else involved because it ain't their problem. There are people out there that can't depend on nobody. They have nobody to depend on. So they hit rock bottom, it is going to be much worse. But it's funny that the people that don't have nobody, when they make it, here come all these people that never wanted anything to do with them in the first place, coming along and saying, you know what? I'm just gonna come in and just suck the life at you, pretend like I'm your friend, basically lie, deceive, and do everything under the sun to you, and then leave you for that. And yet you're lowering yourself from somebody that will never lower themselves for you, which is where your self-esteem and why it's broken. The reason it's broken because you're not basing your self-esteem on what God thinks of you, but no, you're basing it on people that it don't even matter, including your own family. Family, I can understand because you had two parents that basically gave birth to you, so I understand why it's hard not to distance yourself from your family. But that also applies to them as well. There come a time where you can't even be Captain Save a hole towards them. There come a time where you got to cut ties from people that ain't worth you, even in your family. It is not your job to take care of your whole entire family. That's their job. Now, if your mom and them took care of you, and you say, you know what, and I become a billionaire or a multimillionaire, yeah, I might pay off my father's bills and my mother's bills, and I might even get them a $300,000 house. But I am not getting them no $1 million house, especially if they're not going to be here the rest of their lives. I'm going to get them something that's affordable. That way, they can manage it. You pass away, they're not going to be able to manage that $20 million house. Who gonna manage that? Who gonna manage it? If you look at Michael Jackson and even Elvis Presley, somebody had to manage that. Luckily, they turned it in. Elvis, his estate, you can go visit it and still, and that's how they take care of it. Because now it's a tourist ground. But what if that's not the case? How are they gonna be able to afford a $20 million house and they can't afford it? That house is gonna get taken because there's no way they can pay the taxes on the house. So if you spend all your money, or you're married to somebody that spend all your money, you ain't gonna have nothing when you pass away. What are you gonna have when somebody else keeps spending your money? When you're letting other people benefit off stuff that you don't even have. You sitting up here giving somebody a car, putting a car in your name, and you don't even have a car. You up here giving people money that should go towards your bills and go towards a safety net. You giving up your apartment and giving up everything to go move in with somebody because they say I'm gonna take care of you, but yet throw it in your face 20 years later when they find the same female that was just like you, that was independent, self-sufficient, and leave you for that person. You're building somebody for somebody else that's not gonna have to do anything when they get them because you built them. You built that person. Go figure. Are you supposed to do that? Nope. And that's the first stage, isolation. You ain't building nobody, you ain't taking care of nobody, and nobody's calling you. And your phone is not even ringing all day. That's the hardest part when in isolation, when you have nobody calling you. But then again, there's a benefit in that. What is the benefit? You get to see who gonna actually call and check on you. You know the only person that call and check on me is my mama and my other friend and a couple friends that I have here. My mama don't hear from me in 24 hours. She calls. She's calling just to see if I'm breathing. Everybody else don't call me. When you lying in the hospital fighting for your life, that's when you gonna see the people that's gonna be there and the ones that ain't. It ain't never when everything is good. And I don't know why everybody keeps saying that. Why everybody keep thinking that. So at the end of the day, what I will say is this. When it comes to these situations, not everybody gonna like it. Not everybody gonna appreciate, value, want you, need you. None of that. But you think because this person rejected you that something's wrong with you. Nope. It's the opposite. It's their loss, not yours. In isolation, you're gonna learn that. Because when you argue that and you up here trying to fight for your life and you sick and you have no answers and nobody's telling you anything to help you, or because your insurance don't cover anything, you can't go and get a dental cleaning. You can't even go get a dental cleaning if your insurance don't cover it. And then the insurance is for a dental sucks so bad to the point where, you know, what are you gonna do? Dental is the worst insurance you can get. They don't pay for you to get a deep cleaning. I don't know why they won't, but they don't. And deep cleaning should be a thing that should be paid for. You can't even get braces because you got to pay 50% of it. When it comes to going to the doctor, you got to pay a deductible before you can even get a copay or a co-insurance. I'm just saying. These are all the things in isolation you get to look at. All of it. So when you go back into the world, you already know what the world is, you know how to deal with it, and you know what to expect. So now when you walk into the world, you don't care about what nobody think about you. You walk to the beat of your own drum. When you come back, you gonna come back fiercer than you were when you left. Because you're gonna be healthier, you're gonna be happier, because that isolation is gonna be what's gonna build you. The second thing, hibernation. You're going to get the best sleep you've ever had in isolation. Your phone is not ringing. You ain't got to get up and go nowhere. You get to work on your health and wellness. That is the whole point of the isolation and hibernation. Because now you get to work on you. Now you're not sitting up here, nobody being in your business, nobody know what you got going on, and you can move in silence. You're silent. Nobody knows if you're dead or alive. And most people ain't gonna care. They ain't gonna care. So I created these channels for a reason. Because healing does not stop when you recover. Recovery doesn't stop when you heal. Because it doesn't. Because there will be more things coming at you. But it'll be easier for you to deal with it. It'll be easier for you to handle it. Rejection means nothing to you at this point. It's that person's loss. I will create something of my own. I don't need to be a part of nobody else or nobody else's team. I can create one of my own. And that's the point. I don't have to be you. I can be and do whatever I want to. But in the end, I'm happy. It's just like I just saw a message from somebody from that old sex code. Do I care? No, I don't. At the end of the day, he's in prison. He in jail for the rest of his life plus 30 years. Why does it matter to me? Their whole entire sector thought they were gonna break me and didn't. But they exposed themselves by trying to destroy me. These people thought, oh my God, she's gonna be ashamed. She's gonna be embarrassed. Not knowing I had been in isolation for almost 5 years. There was nothing you could have embarrassed me with. There was nothing that you could have made fun of that I would have cared. But you know what you did do though? You got rid of a bunch of people that never accepted me anyway. You got rid of a bunch of things that I didn't need, and you broke a bunch of chains that I thank God that you did. That's what you did. You didn't break me. You just broke the things that were holding me back. Now I'm traveling. I feel better. I'm getting better. So that's all you did. You broke something that needed to be broken in order for me to be a better person. I wouldn't be in the new environment I'm at if it wasn't for that situation. Wouldn't be doing life coaching if it wasn't for that situation. So sometimes negative things move things out of the way that just don't belong. That ain't supposed to be there. That ain't meant to be there. So I'm not worried about negative people, and I don't care because you will never mess with my inner peace and tranquility. And what you may find that may be embarrassing to you may not be to me because my happiness begins and ends with me, and people are just the addition to that. My self-esteem is not based on anybody that I do not know. What you think about me and you don't know me, never had a conversation with me, and think you can tell my life, you can't tell my life if you wanted to. My life is mine. And yes, I have been through some battles, but guess what? Nobody can't say that I was a terrible person or a bad person because a lot of technical tests determine that was a lie. And what's funny is I had people say everything from I didn't raise my child, call my family, and in the end, it all worked out. Because what's funny is the same energy these people were giving me that should have been given to the person that's sitting in prison right now. And now he's sitting in prison plus, 10 years. So it all worked out. Because the way I look at it is that man is sitting in prison, honestly, because of what y'all did to me. The police would have never been involved if it wasn't for what y'all did to me. Because I was the first one that came into that situation that people came at me in the worst way possible. And all you did was bring attention to something that should never should have been brought attention in the first place. Every other channel holder, every other content creator just walked away. I called the authorities because y'all were not gonna sit up there and disrespect me and my family. And when I walked away, I said in 2020, 2021, he going to prison. 2024, he gonna end up in the rest of his life. He's in prison. So in the end, it worked out. So even though what happened to me happened, it was a catalyst to what happened to him. You're not gonna be able to knock somebody down that's a godly person. I don't care what you do. You can sit up there and do all the negative things in the world, but guess what? God is not going to let you get away with messing with one of his kids. And you know that. God don't like ugly. And at the end of the day, every single person that did what they did to me got everything they rightfully deserved. That's why I said I ain't got to do nothing to nobody. Absolutely nobody. Because I don't. God will do it for me. Because you the one gonna have to go to judgment day and ask and God and answer to God why you did what you did to me. So I'm not gonna sit up here and do nothing to you except pray for you. That's why I was never worried about anything these people did because I knew God was with me God put me in this situation for a reason. I got in this situation for a reason, and I did what I accomplished because he's now sitting in prison. But at the end of the day, if people were stupid enough to believe you and everything that you said about me, knowing you don't know me, then that's on them. That has nothing to do with me because I am still the same person I've always been, except better. And when negative people do something, I just look at it like this: either I didn't appreciate what I had, or it wasn't meant for me to have it, or it was something that was supposed to be moved out of the way for something better anyway. And every time somebody has done this, I've always ended up getting something better. But now I know how to hold on to my blessings. Now I know how to maintain things. And now I know how to protect the things that I choose to protect. And the one thing I'm definitely going to basically going to protect is my internal health. That's number one. Number two, my mental and psychological health, my emotional health, my inner peace and tranquility. So I don't care what you do negative, you will never disturb that. I will never allow anybody to disturb my inner peace and tranquility. So in the end, at the end of the day, I'm going to continue doing me regardless. I'm going to be the best version of myself regardless and regardless of you. So the hibernation stage is like a deep sleep. And this is when you're actually getting a lot of rest and you're healing yourself when it comes to everything you've been through. This is when you're basically going back and learning about the coulda, shoulda, wouldas and why you didn't do it in the first place. It's about coming to terms with a lot of things that you've been through and dealing with it. Hibernation is when you're able to acknowledge the fact of your accountability and everything that you've been through. And the cocoon stage is when you have figured out everything during the hibernation stage, and now you're preparing for what the new version of you gonna look like. This is when you start going over everything from your past and everything you've been through and the things that you choose to not repeat and the things that you're going to carry with you in this new version of you. So hibernation is just about any type of physical healing, any type of, you know, trauma or anything like that that you're dealing with. It gives you a chance to heal. But once you heal, the recovery is going to be information. What is the new version of you going to look like? What are your beliefs? What do you stand for? Your critical thinking, common sense, and common judgment, morals, values, principles, and ethics. Weighing the pros and cons, but most importantly, the consequences, repercussions, and karma of your actions, behavior, choice, and decisions. Now, one thing I have gotten into that I'm gonna add to this podcast is going to be some scriptures of the day. I like to do these. I normally do them on my channel, so I'm gonna do this on my. This is like my inner finding your inner peace and tranquility podcast. This says the mind governs by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the spirit is life and peace. And that's my point. The mind governed by the flesh is death. The mind governed by the spirit of life is at peace. That means you can be in the world of God, but not be a part of the world of God. You don't have to be involved in anything that is negative. You don't have to do everything that's negative. You don't have to sit up here and go get plastic surgery. You don't have to go and do all of these things. It's accepting the body that God has put you in and doing what you have to do to heal the body that you're in. But you're not healing your body as far as internally. You're just healing your body externally, but you're still damaging the internal part of your body, which is why a lot of people are dying because you're too busy not taking care of the internal part of your body. But let's see what they say that this means. In Romans chapter 8, verse 6, Paul says, "For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded
is life and peace. I got my first Macintosh computer 20 years ago, Apple computer, but the Bible software I had always been using and was accustomed to use was a Windows-based product. It wouldn't work on a Mac. So a friend told me about a way to use Windows on the Macintosh computer. It would allow me to open up a little window and I could have a pretend Windows device right there inside the Apple. It was strange to have these two operating, and it didn't work well. It was buggy, and it caused everything to run slow, but at least it worked. It's kind of like that. That's what he's saying. When you become a Christian, you go from just having the fleshly, sinful nature, which all our lives we were under the sway of the wicked one, to all of a sudden, God opens up a new way, a new choice that we have, a new window with a different operating system. And until heaven, they're both dueling it out. It's like sin calls and the old nature wants to answer. And sin, we need to remember, our fleshly nature, it's still very bossy. It's just not the boss of us anymore. We no longer are under its control, but we have to choose moment to let the spiritual operating system, our spiritual nature, which will lead to peace, as opposed to the fleshly nature, which is always going to pull us towards death. And moment by moment, we have to remember now yells louder, but later lasts longer. And later is where the eternal rewards and the joy and the fulfillment actually comes. So which one's going to win? Whichever we feed. So today, feed your spirit.
Now, I wanted to add my being led to the slaughter. Hey, y'all. I wanted to add that channel as well. And then it says, think about what you think about. What do you tell yourself every day matters. If you believe something about your identity that isn't true, you will struggle to believe what God is saying about you. And let me say why that's true. A lot of us sit up here and we talk about how we're all about God, we're all about Jesus, we're all about being Christians or Muslims or whatever your religion or spirituality is. And yet and still you're worried about what negative people got to say about you. You're trying to be in relationships with people that you shouldn't be involved with in the first place. Why are you being involved with people that are not even worth your time or your energy in the first place? That makes absolutely no sense. I don't necessarily understand why you'd want to do that. Why would you want to be involved with people that God never chose for you in the first place? Why would you even worry about? It's just like this one video where it talks about why it is that negative people are always somehow, some way, they always end up on top. They always end up having money, that type of thing. But when you root your identity in God and allow His Spirit to shape your life, you will begin to see yourself the way He sees you. And this will influence the way you treat people, situations, opportunities, and events around you. That is true. Because I've noticed a difference. Ever since I stopped trying to be a part of the world and just learned to be in the world and living my life the way God wants me to live it, I've been a lot happier. But that's been a work in progress because I've always been a godly person. But I always had people telling me, oh, well, if you do this, you'll get a man. I'm like, no. And now I stick to that. You know, if I feel like being celibate is something I need to do because it's something that's going to better me, then that's what I'm going to do. And not only that, when I started being more cautious and mindful of what I was basically consuming, I made better choices. When I stopped being manipulated and bamboozled and led astray and lied to by negative people, scammed and conned, my life has been a whole lot easier because I have common sense. So when people say you think too much, no, you think too little. This is why everybody's taking advantage of you. And then this is what it says. Here's some ways that you can guard your thoughts and declare God's truth over your life. Identify the lies you tell yourself. The words and actions reveal the narratives you tell yourself. To figure out if a narrative is false, ask yourself, is this thought marked by fear, insecurities, pride, bitterness, or lack of confidence? Is this thought leading me to cynical or self serving behavior? You can answer yes to either those questions. Then the narrative you're telling yourself probably needs to be addressed and adjusted. When you can identify where and when you begin to believe a lie, it is essential to change the way you think. Now, why is that important? Because fear, insecurities, doubt, those things will definitely make you not do something and to keep you stagnant. That's the reason most people lower themselves because they have nobody to around them in any capacity, friends, family, anybody that's pushing them to do it. And then when you don't have the right, people that's helping you to build something, it'll never work out properly either. So if you got somebody that is trying to, like myself, do a life coaching, and you don't have anybody to really help you, you got to figure it out on your own. Is it easy? No, it's not. But some things, can come naturally, some things won't. But when it comes to your identity, you shouldn't base your identity on anybody else but you and God. That's it, not even your parents. Number two, shift your perspective. For every lie, there is a truth that can be replaced, and those truths can be found in the Bible. Look over the list of lies and ask God to show you in the Word what His truth is. Create a mental space for the Holy Spirit to clearly show you how He sees you. Declare what is true. Turn the truth from Scripture into specific international statements that you can declare over your life each day. Here are some declarations to get you started. I am enough because I am a child of God. I rejoice in the suffering. I rejoice in suffering because Jesus suffered for me. I am not ashamed of Jesus because he sacrificed changes lives. His sacrifice changed lives. I am greatly loved, and so I love others like I have been loved. No one can separate from me. No one can separate me from God love. As you practice these steps, keep in mind if God, whose word is true, says something about you, then it must be true. Allow the Holy Spirit to transform the way you think and let his thoughts about you become your thoughts about you. Honey, that's why I don't care what nobody else got to say about me. Because it ain't about everybody else. It's about what God thinks about me. At the end of the day, I'm God's creation. And God is the Father. So at the end of the day, no matter what, it's not about what everybody else thinks. It's about what God thinks of me. And that's what it's about. That's why the whole entire time when I was going through that sex code, I told people I don't care about what you think about me. What I care about is what God thinks about me. What I care about is the people that are meant to be a part of my life. Those are the people I care about. I care about nobody else and what you think or how you feel because it don't matter. If God did not send you into my life, and if you don't take the time to talk to me about my own story, and you think you can tell my story better than me, we have a very serious problem. My self-esteem, self-worth, and self-value, self-respect, all of that is not based on anybody else but me and what I choose to demand. If you don't respect me, then you don't like me. You don't love me or any of those other things. I am no longer being Captain Saberho, build a bear, build a dog, seat, fill people, please, none of that. I don't care. Then it says, God, thank you for the gift of your spirit. Your spirit is always with me, shaping my character. Today, I want to make an intentional decision to trust you by allowing your spirit to guide me. Please change the way I think and act so that my whole life revolves around you. In Jesus' name, amen. I agree. So at the end of the day, don't sit up here and tell me that I have to base my life on what you think about me. Because guess what? I don't. I ain't got to base my life on anybody else but God. And as long as God is leading my life to the direction that I am meant to and I'm supposed to go, that is all that matters. As long as God is saying, this is where I need you to be, this is what I need to do, this is how I need the direction I need to go, then that's the direction I'm going. So this is the scripture. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, the fruit that will last, and so that whatsoever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. John 15:16. God chooses you. So anyway, at the end of the day, I don't care what negative people do. I don't care if they're making more money than me. I don't care how they made their money. I'm not worried about whether other people are married and I'm single. I don't care. What matters is that my self esteem, self worth, and self value is based upon me and God. The path that God walked me on, I am not getting off that path because you feel as though you don't like the path that I'm on. I don't care if you got an issue with me being smart. I don't care if you got an issue with me being unattractive. I don't care if you got an issue with me being obese. I don't care what your issue is because the minute you say something negative, I don't want to know you in the first place. I want nothing to do with you at all. So at the end of the day, rejection means nothing to me when it comes to society. That means it ain't meant for me to be there. But I can create something and have it way more successful than the thing I try to get into. So sometimes it's not meant for you to be a part of something. Sometimes it's meant for you to create something of your own. And that's the whole point of this hibernation, isolation, and cocoon stage. So let's go into actually the definition of each one of these. So let's start with hibernation right quick. Now, mind you, I'm combining all of my video, all of my podcasts into um, this one video I'm doing, slash recording that I'm doing. So let's get into what is the definition of isolation. Hold on, this thing is on there. What is the definition of isolation? I love when this thing do this. Okay, isolation is a process of the process or fact of isolation, isolating or being isolated. So when you're isolated, the best definition for it is without relations to others, people, and things separately. So it is a state of feeling alone and without friendship or help. Many deaf people have feel a feeling of isolation or loneliness. But see, that's not my definition of it. My definition of isolation is when the world tears you to shreds and God puts you in isolation. Not because you did anything wrong, not because something was wrong with you, but because of the fact you have too many people destroying you and you don't know how to maneuver in this world properly. You're lowering yourself when God never told you to lower yourself. God never chose those people. God never said these are the people that you need to be dealing with. So the whole point of going into isolation is for one, for you to heal, to recover, to learn, to grow, to evolve, to elevate, to mature, to be educated, to be intellectual, and to be able to make the proper decisions and learning how to use your five senses correctly and learning the importance of what you consume and how it impacts and affects your behavior, choices, decisions, and choices. Now, let's look at the definition of hibernation. Even though all these words are very, very, very different, but they are similar, but they are different. It's a condition or period of an animal or plant spending the winter in a dormant state. So you're in a dormant state. So not only are you in isolation, you're also in a dormant state, meaning that you're working on yourself, you're healing, you're taking and don't get me wrong, while you in this state, do not get me wrong, you still gonna be doing stuff. It's just you're not nobody else knows what you're doing. It says in an active state resembling a deep sleep, which certain animals living in colder climates pass the winter. See, we don't get to do that. Hibernation is not something we get to do. I wish we did, but we don't. So I take the time to hibernate as much as possible. So when it comes to the cocoon stage, cocoon. So The definition of a cocoon, it means wrapped or enclosed tightly. So when you are basically in a cocoon stage, that means physically you're healing. You're just wrapped up and you're healing yourself. So all three of these are very important because each one is going to hit differently, especially spiritually. But you're going to need to be in a cocoon stage because when you come out of the cocoon stage, you're going to be a butterfly. Nobody's going to recognize you. Nobody's going to know who you are. Nobody's going to even know that the old you is gone. The old you is dead. And the old you can't even impact you because you've already came to terms with it all. And even if the rest of the world find out, you don't care. Why you don't care? Because it already happened. You already dealt with it. The people that you had to deal with, who you had to make amends with, you make amends with. You repented for your wrongs. You asked for forgiveness, and now you move forward. It ain't about what other people think. It's like with Chris Brown, the fact that everybody keeps want to hold what happened to Chris Brown. Why? It happened almost 20 years ago. He's 35 now, almost 36. Let it go. The man has clearly gotten forgiveness by these two women and all the women he's done this to. So they can forgive him. Why can't the rest of y'all? And that's my point. Some of y'all want to hold grudges so bad. Why? For the life of me, I don't know. But this is why I mind my own business and I find my inner peace and tranquility. Why my self respect has led me to self love. Why, when it comes to being perfectly imperfected, I'm okay with that. When it comes to from darkness to light, I'm always going to find that light at the end of the tunnel. When it comes to the old you versus the new you, it's Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men could not put Humpty Dumpty back together again. It's also you are what you consume and opening Pandora's box. But see now when it comes to Pandora's box, I don't need to open it. I already know what's in it. I don't need to open it. And like I said, if you want to open Pandora's box, fine. But you better take everything that comes with it. A lot of y'all don't want to take everything that comes with the things you do. You want to bring everybody that's involved in something that ain't got nothing to do with them in any capacity whatsoever. And it don't. Not only that, the fact that you want to hurt somebody that ain't done nothing to you, all because you don't like what they represent, or they're not going to give you whatever it is that you want. So, at the end of the day, please stop playing with me at this point. I am well aware about why people do the things that they do. But the most important thing is you finding yourself back to you, finding out what's best for you, how to live your life, what makes you happy, what brings you joy. That is what matters. But most importantly, let's not also forget about a happier you leads to a healthier you. Because you can't be healthy if you're not mentally, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, or you're not good when it comes to your relationships. If you don't make the right decisions as far as critical thinking, common sense, common judgment, morals, values, principles, and ethics, weighing the pros and cons, researching before you make a decision, and understanding the consequences, repercussions, and karma to your action, behavior, choice, and decisions, that would be bad for you. And understanding the importance of connecting the mind to the body, because once the mind and the body are connected, then you make better choices and better decisions. A lot of y'all, your mind and your body are not connected. Because if y'all are really connected, then you will make better choices. So with that being said, I think that's it for me. I think I have pretty much addressed all of my podcasts in this particular episode. But for those of y'all on this other channel that I just posted, I will post the whole entire video, and that way you guys will have it. And on my other channel as well. But like I said, is it easy going down these journeys? No, not at all. But in the end, it's worth it when you find your way back to God or whatever your spirituality or religion is. It's good when you see your health and wellness and you wake up in the morning, you feel good, you don't feel bad. You go to the doctor and they tell you whatever it is that you had is gone because your faith in God didn't waver. And no matter what, you continue to do the right thing, no matter what anybody has to say or do. So, with that being said, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification button on YouTube and Facebook to receive notifications of my videos. And for those of y'all on my podcast, thank y'all. There are some up and coming interviews that I will be doing very soon. I have some people that will be coming on my podcast. I'm really excited about that. Um, I cannot wait to do them. I cannot wait to really have these conversations. I think they're going to be absolutely great. So I'm definitely going in that direction. So I just wanted to come on here and just say, just be you. With that being said, I will see y'all later. Thank y'all for joining me. I'm Goddess Asha Mariama and Coach Asha Mariama. With that being said, adios, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen, sayonara, and guten noches. Bye, y'all.